Hello Internet, I'm Corione, your witch in residence here on YouTube. And today we're going to be talking about the movie Footloose and my feelings on it. Now, before I do too deep a dive here, I just wanted to thank my channel members once again for helping me create this video. This was again suggested by my channel members. If you wish to become a channel member, the barrier to entry is very minimal. We've got the least expensive YouTube membership out there, and it provides a whole lot of services. Please come check us out. Now, with that obligatory ritual out of the way, let's dig into the movie Footloose. Now, for those who haven't seen Footloose, there are some great pieces in it, right? There's Kevin Bacon, who clearly looks to be about 26, playing a 16-year-old. There's John Lithgow as the bad guy, which is always a treat. And especially when he's playing like a fire and brimstone preacher, like it's really good. But the basic idea is this. The town has outlawed dancing. Now, I know you're probably sitting there going like, well, why? And it has a lot to do with this fire and brimstone preacher who believes that dancing will lead to people getting together, which will lead to, romantic relationships between consenting teenagers, I guess is the best way to put it. And that, in his opinion, is not okay. All right. I have my own opinions on that here. I personally believe that, I kind of agree with what Optimus Prime has a tendency of saying, which is freedom is the right of all sentient beings, and I feel the freedom to dance is one of those inherent ones. So let's actually discuss this. Okay, let's discuss the concept of inherent freedoms. Look, I absolutely believe in there being, for lack of a better term, two sets of laws. You have the law of the gods, however you want to put that, your spiritual practices, particular beliefs, but they should only apply to those practitioners. And then you have what I call man's laws, or the laws that we all agree to when we agree to live in a specific society. So, for example, sometimes they, come across together. Generally, everyone frowns upon, doing harm to your neighbor, okay? And your neighbor being, anyone who happens to live on this planet with you, right? Possibly even your stellar neighbor. But the idea is your neighbor, okay? And both of them have codified this in different ways, right? Both of them generally believe in protecting innocence. This is good. But my gods have never said anything about parking violations, right? But we have to have that in order for us to be able to have a society where, people are just not parking in the middle of the highway to go hang out and check something and screwing up traffic for everybody else. So that's why I talk about the difference between man's law and God's law. And nothing in the divine laws I have ever seen should ban dancing, right? Because we all dance. We all do it to express joy, even if it's just a little happy dance in our chair because something finally went our way, okay? This is an important piece. Now, in man's law, there are places and at certain times where dancing is banned. For example, in Japan, it is illegal to dance after a certain period of time at night. Now, the reason they did this had a lot to do with people going to dance all through the night and dance clubs being open far later than everyone was comfortable with, and it causing problems the next day, especially with public drunkenness and a bunch of other associated problems that cropped up. One of the examples I've even seen is in Japan, because certain trains don't run at certain times of night, people were sleeping on the streets and just dancing in a dance club until late at night, sleeping on the street, and then going to work in the morning like that. I understand the lack of being okay with that. And I understand having to pass a law like that. But dancing in general, no, they all agree that there is, that dancing is an important fundamental right. And there are a lot of other fundamental rights like that, okay? I personally believe that we should all have the right to express our opinion. I don't believe that we should be free of the consequences of expressing our opinion, but I do believe that we should be free to do so, just realizing that there are responsibilities that go with all of these rights. I believe that people should have a right to live if they so choose, and live as they choose. I believe that people should have the right to control what goes in or comes out of their bodies. Okay? And I also firmly believe in the right to be allowed to choose, even if somebody else feels it's wrong, what you believe in and who you love. And I think those are important pieces, okay? The elder Trudeau, not the current Prime Minister of Canada, but his father, had a great saying, which is, the government of Canada should not be involved in what happens in Canadian bedrooms. And I think that's a fantastic way to put it. Whatever happens in your own home should be your own business, provided it's not causing harm. And I think that is a good groundwork for a general feeling about this. Now, when it comes to dancing, look, I have no problem with a bunch of people getting together and dance. Okay? I think that community is more important than moral purity. Okay? Because community at the end of the day will get you through things that you couldn't get through any other way. Okay? Having a community that rallies around you when something terrible happens is how we as humans survive. It's how we've always survived. Okay? We existed as tribal species for ages until we finally grew up to the point where we are now. And we did that because we made sure that every member of the tribe was cared for. Every member of the tribe pulled their weight. And I feel like that's what we're doing here. And if a member of the tribe was injured or hurt, we took care of them, because that's what we do as a community. That's what we've always done as a community. Heck, take a look today. If a hiker gets lost in a mountain range, thousands of people who show up who have never met this person will be there searching the mountain. Some may even die trying to find the person that went missing. Because that's what we do as a civilization. That's what we do as people. Okay? And I think that that is more important. Okay? There's a fascinating thing I read that I think is important for this point as well. There are certain orders of religious groups out there that do not believe in eating in the presence of anyone. And the idea exists to isolate that individual. One of the most primal, deep, emotional things that you can do is have lunch with somebody else. Because that is probably when we are most vulnerable. In general. And coming together and sharing a meal is a 1,000-year-old traditional way of saying I accept you as an equal, as a friend, as a comrade. It's where we build pair bonds or group bonds, okay? I mean, think about it right now. Even in the corporate world, when the corporation's concerned about people going their own way or rebelling or what have you, they arrange a pizza party so that everybody's eating together to reinforce those bonds. Okay? dancing, I think, is one of those as well. I think dancing is one of those communal things that when you do together as a group, what you're really doing is building a stronger community of peers and friends and relatives. I mean, I think there's a very solid connection between, in your 20s, getting together with a bunch of your friends and going to a dance club and dancing together, and those relationships lasting beyond your 20s and into the rest of your life. I think there's a reason why we get embarrassed asking people to dance, because we acknowledge at some level the emotional intimacy of dancing with somebody else. So by taking that away, what I think was actually trying to be done is removing community and replacing it with piety, so that piety would take precedence over everything else. And I fundamentally disagree with that. I think that community together can build a more stable version of a spiritually enlightening environment, because we're all sharing our feelings, our thoughts, our emotions together. And if we're sharing those with us, that is sharing it with the divine. Okay? Take a look. Most of the time in various religious texts, you will see religious leaders not, the stories never go, well, then he started this elaborate ritual or prayer service and then talked. That's usually not how it goes. Usually it's they sat down in a group and talked and realized that they were communicating about the beauty and the majesty and the wonderfulness of the universe itself, because they were sharing a campfire together, because they were sharing a meal together, because they had just gotten back from doing an activity together. And that, I think, is the true lesson here. So do I think that we should have the freedom to dance? Absolutely. Do I think we should have the freedom to explore and build community together? I absolutely do. And if you choose to do that within your religious group, that's wonderful. More power to you. And if you choose to do that within a peer group among your friends, hey, that's great too. However you decide to build your community, do it. Get together. Share an activity. Enjoy each other's company. And if the mood strikes you, feel free to dance. Okay, guys. That's the video today. I want to, once again, thank you all for watching this video. If you could please go ahead and hit the thumbs up button and leave a comment, I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.